श्री महाभारत कथा। श्री महाभारत कथा। महाभारत कथा। महाभारत कथा है पुरुषार्थ की, ये स्वार्थ की, परमार्थ की सारथी जिसके बने श्री कृष्ण भारत पार्थ की। शब्द दिग्घोषित हुआ जब सत्य सार्थक सर्वथा। शब्द दिग्घोषित हुआ। यदा यदा हि धर्मस्य ग्लानिर्भवति भारत, अभ्युत्थानम् अधर्मस्य तदात्मानं सृजाम्यहम्। परित्राणाय साधूनां विनाशाय च दुष्कृतां, धर्म संस्थापनार्थाय संभवामि युगे युगे।
And lo, the discus, Sudarsana, destroyer of enemies, like to Agni in effulgence and dreadful in battle, came from the sky as soon as thought of. And when it came, Narayana of fierce energy, possessing arms like the trunk of an elephant, hurled with great force that weapon of extraordinary luster, effulgent as blazing fire, dreadful and capable of destroying hostile towns. And when it came, Narayana of fierce energy, possessing arms like the trunk of an elephant, hurled with great force that weapon of extraordinary luster, effulgent as blazing fire, dreadful and capable of destroying hostile towns. And that discus blazing like the fire that consumeth all things at the end of Yuga, hurled with force from the hands of Narayana, and falling constantly everywhere, destroyed the Datyas and the Danavas by thousands. And the Danavas, white as the clouds from which the rain hath dropped, possessing great strength and bold hearts, ascended the sky, and by hurling down thousands of mountains, continually harassed the gods. And when thousands of warriors shouted without intermission in the field of battle and mountains, with the woods thereon began to fall around, the earth with her forests trembled. Then the divine Nara appeared at the scene of the dreadful conflict between the Ashuras and the Ganas, the followers of Rudra, and reducing to dust those rocks by means of his gold-headed arrows, he covered the heavens with dust. Thus discomfited by the gods, and seeing the furious discus scouring the fields of heaven like a blazing flame, the mighty Danavas entered the bowels of the earth, while others plunged into the sea of salt waters. And having gained the victory, the gods offered due respect to Mandara, and placed him again on his own base. And the nectar-bearing gods made the heavens resound with their shouts, and went to their own abodes. And the gods, on returning to the heavens, rejoiced greatly, and Indra and the other deities made over to Narayana the vessel of Amrita for careful keeping. It was this horse about which Kadru asked Vinata, saying, "Tell me, amiable sister, without taking much time, of what color Achaisravas is." And Vinata answered, "That prince of steeds is certainly white. What dost thou think, sister? Say thou what is its color. Let us lay a wager upon it." And Kadru, bent upon practicing a deception, ordered her 1,000 sons to transform themselves into black hair and speedily cover the horse's tail, in order that she might not become a slave. But her sons, the snakes, refusing to do her bidding, she cursed them, saying, during the snake sacrifice, "Of the wise king Janamejaya of the Pandava race, Agni shall consume you all." And the grandsire, Brahman himself, heard this exceedingly cruel curse pronounced by Kadru, impelled by the fates. And seeing that the snakes had multiplied exceedingly, the grandsire, moved by kind consideration for his creatures, sanctioned with all the gods this curse of Kadru. And Brahman, calling Kasyapa to him, spake unto him these words: O thou pure one who overcomest all enemies, these snakes begotten by you, who are of virulent poison and huge bodies, and ever intent on biting other creatures, have been cursed by their mother. O son, do not grieve for it in the cause. Least, neither. The destruction of the snakes in the sacrifice hath indeed been ordained long ago. Saying this, the divine creator of the universe comforted Kasyapa, and imparted to that illustrious one the knowledge of neutralizing poison. Then when the night had passed away and the sun had risen in the morning, O thou whose wealth is asceticism, the two sisters, Kadru and Vinata, having laid a wager about slavery, went with haste and impatience to view the steed Akshayshravas from a near point. On their way they saw the ocean, that receptacle of waters, vast and deep, rolling and tremendously roaring, full of fishes large enough to swallow the whale, and abounding with huge makaras and creatures of various forms by thousands, and rendered inaccessible by the presence of other terrible, monster-shaped, dark and fierce aquatic animals, abounding with tortoises and crocodiles, the mine of all kinds of gems, the home of Varuna, the water god, the excellent and beautiful residence of the Nagas, the lord of all rivers, the abode of the subterranean fire, the friend, or asylum, of Thisa, Asuras, the terror of all creatures, the grand reservoir of water, and ever immutable. It is dark, terrible with the sound of aquatic creatures, tremendously roaring, and full of deep whirlpools. It is an object of terror to all creatures, moved by the winds blowing from its shores and heaving high, agitated and disturbed. It seems to dance everywhere with uplifted hands represented by its surges. It is wholly beneficial to the gods, and is the great source of nectar, without limits, inconceivable, sacred, and highly wonderful. Full of swelling billows caused by the waxing and waning of the moon, the parent of Vasudeva's great conch called Panchajanya, the great mine of gems, its waters were formerly disturbed in consequence of the agitation caused within them by the Lord Govinda of immeasurable prowess when he had assumed the form of a wild boar for raising the submerged earth. Its bottom, lower than the nether regions, the vow observing regenerate Rishi Atri could not fathom after toiling for 100 years. It is the refuge of Mainaka fearful of falling thunder, and the retreat of the Asuras overcome in fierce encounters. And they saw that unto it rushed mighty rivers by thousands with proud gait, like amorous competitors, each eager for meeting it, forestalling the others. And they saw that it was always full, and always dancing in its waves. And they saw that it was deep and abounding with fierce whales and makaras. The Nagas after consultation arrived at the conclusion that they should do their mother's bidding, for if she failed in obtaining her desire, she might withdraw her affection and burn them all. And it is said that they then went and became hares in the horse's tail. And on their way they saw the ocean, that receptacle of waters, incapable of being easily disturbed, mightily agitated all of a sudden by the wind, and roaring tremendously, abounding with fishes capable of swallowing the whale and full of makaras, containing also creatures of diverse forms counted by thousands, frightful from the presence of horrible monsters, inaccessible, deep, and terrible. The mine of all kinds of gems, the home of Varuna, the water god, the wonderful habitations of the Nagas, the lord of rivers, the residence of the Asuras and of many dreadful creatures, the reservoir of water, not subject to decay, aromatic, and wonderful. The great source of the Amrita of the celestials, immeasurable and inconceivable, containing waters that are holy, filled to the brim by many thousands of great rivers, dancing as it were in waves. Having crossed the ocean, Kadru of swift speed, accompanied by Vinata, soon alighted near the horse. They then both beheld that foremost of steeds of great speed, with body white as the rays of the moon, but having black hairs in the tail. And observing many black hairs in the tail, Kadru put Vinata, who was deeply dejected, into slavery. In the meantime, when his time came, burst forth from the egg without the help of his mother, Garuda of great splendor, enkindling all the points of the universe, that mighty being endued with strength, that bird capable of assuming at will any form, of going at will everywhere, and of call to his aid at will any measure of energy. Effulgent like a heap of fire, he shone terribly, of luster equal to that of the fire at the end of the Yuga. His eyes were bright like the lightning flash. And soon after birth, that bird grew in size, and increasing his body ascended the skies. And all the deities, seeing him, sought the protection of Vibhavasu, and they bowed down to that deity of manifold forms seated on his seat, and spake unto him these words: O Agni, extend not thy body. Wilt thou consume us? And Agni replied, O ye persecutors of the Asuras, it is not as ye imagine. This is Garuda of great strength and equal to me in splendor, endued with great energy, and born to promote the joy of Vinata. Yo, come with me and see. Thus addressed the gods from a distance.
भारत की